Hello everyone. Today I'm going to present a case study titled Lina's Code Mixing and Identity Confusion, a Sociocultural Perspective. My name is Fahreza, and in this presentation I'll discuss who Lina is, what issues she faces, how sociocultural theory helps explain her language behavior, and what teachers can do to support her learning and identity. Let's begin with an overview of the case. Lina is a 12 years old student living in a multilingual family that speaks Japanese, Indonesian, and English. In her daily communication, she often mixes these languages. For example, she says, Miss, I already kerjain that tadi. Her teacher interprets this behavior as a sign that Lina is not serious or not focused on speaking English properly. However, Lina herself says that speaking only English feels fake. Her parents see English as a symbol of social class and educational success. Meanwhile, her friends often tease her for sounding different. When she uses English words in daily conversation, academically, Lina performs well, but she often resists correction, especially when teachers ask her to speak pure English. So, what's really happening here? The issue is not just about grammar or vocabulary, it's about identity. Lina is navigating multiple linguistic worlds: her home language Japanese, her social language Indonesian, and her academic language English. Each represents a different identity, and she's struggling to balance with them. The Theory 1: Sociocultural Theory. To understand Lina's behavior, we can use Vygotsky's sociocultural theory. According to Vygotsky 1978, learning, including language learning, happens through social interaction within a cultural context. In other words, how and what we learn is deeply influenced by the people and environment around us. Language is not just a system of grammar rules, it's a tool for communication and social connection. Through language, people build relationships, express emotion, and construct their identities. In Lina's case, her code mixing is a natural reflection of her social world. At home, she hears multiple languages being used interchangeably. At school, she is expected to use English, and among friends, she feels safer using Indonesian or Japanese. So, her mixing of codes is actually her way of bridging these different worlds. Vygotsky also talks about the zone of proximal development, or ZPD, the idea that learners grow best when supported by social interaction and guidance from others. For Lina, that guidance should come from a teacher who understands her linguistic background and helps her express herself without shame. If a teacher only focuses on grammar correction and ignores Lina's social reality, she may feel misunderstood and even silenced. Therefore, her resistance is not defiance, it's a reaction to identity conflict. Understanding this through the sociocultural lens helps teachers see code mixing not as a mistake, but as a step toward bilingual competence and self-expression. Now, how can teachers support Lina's learning while respecting her identity? Here are several strategies based on the sociocultural perspective. First, acknowledge multilingualism as a strength. Teachers should openly appreciate Lina's ability to switch between languages. This helps her see her multilingual skills as something valuable, not embarrassing. For example, the teacher might say, "That's a great point, Lina. Let's see how we can see it in full English." Second, use translanguaging activities. This means allowing students to express ideas using a mix of languages before refining them into English. For instance, Lina can first explain an idea in Indonesian, then work with her classmates to express it in English. This bridges comprehension and confidence. Third, create a supportive learning community. Encourage peer work, group discussion, or collaborative projects. When language use feels natural and socially accepted, students like Lina are more willing to practice English without fear of being teased. Fourth, scaffold language learning. provide modals, key phrases, or sentence starters to support Lena in her zone of proximal development. As she gains confidence, gradually reduce the support so she can speak independently. Fifth, reflect students' cultural identity in lessons. I integrate familiar cultural topics, stories, or example. This helps Lena realize that using English doesn't mean losing her identity. It's just another way of expressing who she is. Through these strategies, we can promote both linguistic accuracy and emotional comfort, helping Lena learn English in a more authentic and confident way. From this case, I learned that code mixing is not simply a language mistake, it's a meaningful part of how multilingual learners construct identity. Children like Lena use language to express who they are and where they belong. This case reminds me that language learning is not only about grammar and vocabulary, but also about feeling accepted, understood, and respected. As a future teacher, I need to remember that when students mix languages, it doesn't mean they are lazy or unmotivated. Instead, they are showing us their linguistic creativity and their effort to communicate meaningfully in complex social environments. Why does this matter? Because when teacher respects students' language identities, they create classrooms that are more inclusive, motivating, and empowering. Students who feel accepted are more likely to take risks, use English confidently, and improve naturally over time. Ultimately, understanding the sociocultural side of language helps us not teach not just English, but also empathy, respect, and confidence. And here are the key references that supports this analysis. To conclude, Lina's case reminds us that teaching as a language is not just about correcting words, it's about understanding people. When we value our students' voices and cultural backgrounds, we don't just teach English, we teach connection, confidence, and identity. Thank you very much for listening. See you.